Hello fellow cine enthusiasts, my name is Christine and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today is Classic Movie Thursdays here on my channel, my version of Throwback Thursdays. Today's classic movie I will be reviewing for you is Sullivan's Travels from 1941, directed and written by Preston Sturges. Sullivan's Travels is about a movie director and writer named John L. Sullivan. He's known for writing comedies and musical reviews, but he really wants to get in touch with the people of America. You know, as he says, there's war going on, there's poor people out in the world, there's all this trouble that's going on, and he wants to show, you know, American movie audiences, you know, what that struggle is like. The only problem is he's been a very fortunate guy all his life. He went to boarding school when he was younger, and he was making so much money per week by the time he was like 27 years old for a movie studio that he has no idea what it's like to have to really work like, you know, you or me. There's normal people out in America and in the world. So he decides to try and become one of the poor people. You know, America was just getting over the Depression. We're still kind of in the Depression by 1941. And he wanted to have that experience of knowing what it was like to be in trouble, to not have a knowing place to go to sleep at night, to not have clean clothes, to just have, you know, 10 cents in your pocket, and that was it, that was all. And to see what it's like to just live in like shanty towns and, you know, go to like homeless shelters, be on the bread line and all this stuff. So he gets the prop department from his studio to loan him some hobo clothes, as he calls them. And he does start off kind of well, but then somehow he manages to make it back to LA. He makes it back to LA by hitchhiking a ride. He had been helping this old woman out, and she was a horny little old lady. She really just wanted to get into Sullivan's pants, so he was like, that's not happening anymore. So he got away, but he fell into a water bucket, and he was freezing, so he hitched a ride, and he wound up back in LA. The truck that takes him back to LA drops him off in front of a diner, so he only had 10 cents in his pocket still, and he goes and is just like, give me a coffee and a donut. He tries his best to look like a mess and to look like he's, you know, he needs some help a little bit. And there's this beautiful, beautiful girl that's in there, all nice and dressed up and everything. And she is played wonderfully by Veronica Lake. She does not have a name, the character. It's just simply credited as the girl. So the girl was like, oh, you're in trouble, mister? And she's like, yeah, get him some ham and eggs. And she like goes off like really like witty and kind of like a bummer, like sarcastic. I don't really know how to explain it, but she's got like such a attitude, like she's just had it, you know, she's been through the mill. And she's like, oh, do you know Lubitsch? And Sullivan goes, who's Lubitsch? You know, playing dumb. And you know, he gives her like this whole story how he used to be a director and he used to know all these people and things like that. But finally, he lets the cat out of the bag and he tells the girl who he is, that he's a big movie director. And she gets pretty pissed at him because she gave like this whole spiel about how she wanted to go home, she wanted to get out of the life in LA and everything. And then he tells her his plan about going across America and living, you know, with the homeless people. And she goes, I'm gonna come with you. I like you. I'm gonna come with you. You can't get rid of me. So she does go along with him, and they shared that experience together. And their experiment is a success because his studio, some of the people there are following him around, taking pictures, and they're gonna like publicize this for whenever John writes his movie. So John, as a thank you to some of the poor people, decides to take out $1,000 in $5 bills and hand them out. On the night that he was handing them out, a homeless guy with really bad intentions sees him doing this, and he whacks John over the head, throws him in a freight car, and the freight car goes like that on the train. The guy who took the money also took John's shoes, and in his shoes there was his ID. The guy is actually run over by another train because he tripped and dropped all the money that he stole from John. So the next day, nobody can find John. They're all worried, and they find the body of this guy at the morgue, and, you know, of course, they can't tell who he is. He's so mangled, but, you know, they see the ID in his shoes. So everybody thinks John's dead. Well, John gets in a bit of trouble when he gets off the train because he's disoriented and all this stuff, and he gets thrown into like hard labor instead of jail and all this stuff. So he can't get out of it. This hard labor is really, really bad, but he actually comes up with the idea to say that he is the guy that murdered John L. Sullivan, because everybody thinks that, you know, he was murdered. And then he gets his picture in the paper, and that's how he's found, and he's okay at the end. While he was working, he sees that the men, when they got to see a movie, they saw a Disney movie. It was Pluto. It was a silly cartoon. They were laughing. And this gives John the idea to not do his original picture, but to do a comedy, because he sees how much comedy can really, you know, make people laugh and make them forget about their troubles and just give these people that were having a hard time a good laugh, instead of making like a conscientious picture of these working people that he got to work with. I really like Sullivan's Travels. I thought it was an excellent movie. I like the story. I like how John, you know, he was just so privileged all his life that he never really had to work with anything, but he wanted to go out and experience all this stuff, and he comes back with, like, you know, a better, like, I guess appreciation for what people want, or maybe like a new outlook on what the people just want. They want to forget their troubles. They don't want to have their troubles thrown back in their face. You know, it'd be like, it would kind of remind me like he wanted to do the movie 2 Days, One Night, and you know, that movie, I'm not going to go into a full explanation of it, but it was so real. It was so real and very unsettling. So he kind of got the light that a lot of people just wanted comedy, and I like that revelation from him. I have to really, really give it up for Veronica Lake in this movie. I think I've only ever seen her maybe in like 2 movies, and she's usually in like noir, and she's the femme fatale to the anti-hero of Alan Ladd. So it was really cute to see her in a comedy. Oh my god, she was so good. I absolutely loved her from the moment she came on screen to her very, very last scene. Absolutely adored her. She was so freaking cute. Like, I cannot get over it. I just loved her character, how she's like, I'm coming with you. She was like determined, tough chick still. So oh my god, I just really liked her performance. Like, I think this performance from her, this character, is like one of my favorite performances from an actress in a movie, and one of my favorite characters. I don't know what it was. I guess because, like I said, I had seen her in noirs where she's the femme fatale and she was made to look really sexy. And in this, I mean, she was wearing like guy clothes, you know. She was wearing like a guy's suit and like dirty clothes when they went out, when her and Sullivan went out and did their experiment. So it was like really cute to see her. She did look like a little boy. She was so tiny, and I mean, Joel McCrea was like really, really tall, but I loved her. I don't like know what else to say. I just keep going on and saying the same thing. I really loved this role for Veronica Lake. For me, this was also an interesting role for Joel McCrea. I'm used to seeing him as like the big tough hero, and, you know, like from The Most Dangerous Game and some of his later like Western movies and things like that. So this was like to see him being kind of like a snob in a way, maybe not so much a snob, but like a very privileged person, was kind of different, and it was kind of odd for me, but I liked him. He did such a great job, and apparently he was the only choice for John L. Sullivan for Preston Sturges. He wanted Joel McCrea to play this, and he was excellent. Absolutely loved Joel McCrea in this. Preston Sturges, I've seen maybe like 1 or 2 other of his films, and I really like him. I like this story because it's kind of like kind of like a spoof or a commentary on Hollywood and how some of these Hollywood people work, you know, directors, how, you know, like writers, things like that. I really liked it. I thought, you know, it was a good look at a bit of what Hollywood was like in the early 40s, like late 30s, things like that. So very excellent, and his direction was nothing but the best. It was really, really great direction. My favorite scene in this movie is when Joel McCrea and Veronica Lake are sitting by John's pool, and she's sitting there like brushing his hair, and she's like all cute, and it's really, really sweet. I just love that scene. It was just something like so quick, but just really adorable. And I don't, now to me that's like one of my favorite scenes from a movie. I just really loved that scene. Just the way they played it, the way Veronica Lake looked, and oh god, it was just great. I really love that scene. So that was my review of Sullivan's Travels. If you liked this review in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below if you have seen Sullivan's Travels. What'd you think of it? Did you like Veronica Lake's performance as much as I did? Whatever you think of the movie, leave your comments there. And also in the comments, if you have any suggestions for movies that I should watch, be them old or new, leave them there. And if I pick your movie and I watch it and I review it, I will give you a shout out. Who does not want a shout out in a YouTube video? How cool would that be? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future Classic Movie Thursdays and other Let's Get Reelz movie reviews. And also hit that bell notification as well, because sometimes my uploading schedule isn't always the best. So when you hit that bell notification, you will get notified as soon as I upload. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.